Luke, you reminded me that actually it never really stopped. There was a transition, but, maybe it's worth saying, in fact, there's an image. So the image at the above is somewhat, the railway looking a bit stopped up. But the image below is actually of
the start of a new era.
The start of a new era. So perhaps we should bring in the pioneers, and you can talk about what that new era is and what happened. What happened? Why after the mine's closure? And the kind of the running down, it wasn't an immediate stop because there was lots of stock of slate to bring down. But when that run down, what happened? Tell us what happened.
Mine shut after the collapse. The owner of the line, sole shareholder, Sir Haydn Jones, he bought it all in around 1910 and vowed he would keep the railway running for his constituents. He was a local MP, and keep jobs going. Once the quarry declined and shut, he promised he would keep the railway going until he died. Around this time, not the chap in the white coat in the middle, to the right is Tom Rolt. He visited the railway in the late 40s and fell in love with it. It was this last bastion of independent railway because it was never nationalised. It somehow escaped Whitehall's nationalisation in 1948. I think they thought it was closed. And he wanted to help keep this independent railway company that was very obviously on its last legs going. His friend on the left, not on the engine, Bill Trinder, got together and they've hatched effectively the plan of what can we do? Can we help? And they had talks with Sir Haydn, and he was quite keen on free help. Why not?
Yeah.
And then sadly, in 1950, he passed away, and the railway carried on for its 1950 season, and there was a bit of question. But in October 1950, these chaps formed the Tallyflin Railway Preservation Society with a meeting in Birmingham. You've got David Kerwin on the engine, the first engineer, Bill Trinder, the first chairman. Chap in the white coat was Pat Whitehouse, who was also the CEO and founder of Vintage Trains.
Interesting. Okay, yep.
And his son, Michael, who's the CEO at the minute, is still very keenly involved with the Tallyflin.
Lovely.
Michael Whitehouse. I think he was first secretary. Tom Rolt was the first general manager, and Pat Garland, his lovely Dickie Bow, was the first treasurer. And they devised the thing of, we will have memberships so people can pay their money, and that gives us funds, and in return we will give them free train travel and the ability to volunteer.
Yes.
And very quickly they came up with this idea. They were still talking with Lady Barbara Haydn Jones, Haydn's widow, and we still have a contract in place with the Haydn Jones family where their relatives are on the board, and if we ever close the railway, we have to pay a lovely sum of £1 to the family. She gave us the railway in February 1951.
Yeah, absolutely. What's delightful about this image, I'm so glad you sent me this one through, because these characters look remarkably familiar to people who've watched Titfield Thunderbolt. There is a deep familiarity. I mean, it's no coincidence as well that the relationship of the Reverend Audrey with railways, and therefore the inclusion of the clergy within Titfield Thunderbolt. There are these links between the film and the railway that are not coincidental. The fact that the main working class character, the working class hero of Titfield Thunderbolt is, I mean, I'm going to use rabbit ears, Welsh. There is a supposedly, I believe, a Welsh accent in there.
So Dan, Hugh Griffiths,
Dan, yes.
He was a friend of Tom Roll and was a vice president of the Tallyflin Railway when he was cast in the film.
Really?
So the connection even goes that far.
So he is Welsh, it's just that he's got movie accent that means that the accent sounds a bit strange. Yeah, okay, I was going to say, because he's definitely...
He was invested with the TR as well.
Absolute crikey. Dan,
I don't know if Tom suggested him for the role or not, but...
Absolute. I mean, my favourite character in the movie by a long, long way. Brilliant. But also somewhat looking a bit like... He looks a little like your engineer here on the footplate. There's a familiarity. Marvelous. And then you have a Valentine character in the treasure. Just marvelous, absolutely marvelous. Anyway, so volunteers. The volunteers getting stuck in. There's this wonderful. I've put it up as a hero image because it's just such a wonderful image of all the kind of the volunteers getting stuck in of all ages. It's worth saying. You'll notice the wee lad and someone who's lost all of their hair, also sitting fairly close by, and women as well. So there's quite a diverse range of people getting stuck in, absolutely. And I really love this. What I like about this is slightly to one side is okay, it's somewhat British in that we've got volunteers of all ages and genders getting stuck in to build the railway here, and it's a heritage railway, or an operation that is now what we'd call a heritage operation. At the same time, at about the same time as in Yugoslavia, having done an episode a while back on Yugoslav history, where like the entire country had work groups like this building their modern railway network. So there's kind of an interesting parallel across nations there. But anyway, you have these wonderful images of the volunteers. Here's a lovely image of three chaps with a locomotive in steam and these lovely little wagons behind. Another hero image here I love because you just have this wonderful. This is a really nice image that I think captures the verticality of the Talyllyn Linn, because anyone who was not taking a train had a long, fairly relentless walk uphill. It's a noticeable walk up the hill to kind of get up to Abergynolwyn from the coast. So yeah, it's just some really lovely images, and you end up with the operation that we are familiar with today. Here's a nice image, a kind of a more recent image, I would say, of Wharf Station. You can see that the platform looking like it's had some work there. You can see a nice Moggy in the foreground, a lovely Morris Minor, and the original carriages, as you pointed out. But I want to say there is a wonderful moment in the final act of Titfield Thunderbolt where you have the passengers and eager supporters of the railway who have hopped out and are pushing the carriages, the kind of the one carriages back up the hill to meet the errant locomotive. And what I love in this wonderful moment is that I was delighted to find in your treasure trove of images that you'd included the precise moment that inspired the filmmakers to have that in the final act. Because here it is happening for real.
Yeah, this was on the opening day for the Preservation Society, 14th of May, 1951.
Slightly different reasoning, I think you said. That it's a slightly different reason. It wasn't quite the calamity of errant locomotives and such.
There wasn't a runaround loop here. So they shunted the engine into the siding and got everyone out to push. And then the loco docked on and went back to wharf.
Which is fab. But I have to say, that is the charm of the Talyllyn Linn. It is a wonderful railway. I cannot recommend it enough. Boxing Day operations, like going down at holiday time, is particularly lovely, but actually all year round, whenever it's operating, it is a heart-filling delight of a railway. And that's facilitated by the fact that there is this big team of supporters, either direct volunteers, operators, engineers, people digging, people collecting tickets, whatever it happens to be, running websites and social media, people working to support the railway, and also the wider group of people who provide financial support. There's this huge network of people who provide support, and there were recent very important celebrations. Luke, tell us about those. What is